When it comes to Voldemort's followers, it can be argued that there was none more loyal than Bellatrix Lestrange. Unstable, sadistic and psychopathic, she took nothing but pleasure from the torturing and killing of many victims, all in the name of her master, Lord Voldemort. This is the Dark Witch's story. This is the life of Bellatrix Lestrange. Bellatrix was born in 1951 to Cygnus and Druella Black, who raised her to be proud of her pureblood heritage. She was the elder sister of Andromeda and Narcissa, though Bellatrix cut off contact with Andromeda when she married Muggle-born wizard Ted Tonks, the marriage causing Andromeda to be completely disowned from the House of Black. Bellatrix also held her cousin Sirius in contempt for being a blood traitor, for his different opinions on Muggles and Muggle-borns. It was very clear that she held her views on blood supremacy over family ties and relations. Bellatrix came from the pure-blood Black family, and as such she was given a rich lifestyle. She attended Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and was sorted into Slytherin House. She eventually married Rodolphus Lestrange, a fellow wealthy pure-blood Slytherin. Although they would later work well together in their service to Lord Voldemort, their marriage appeared to be nothing more than an obligatory fulfillment of her family's pure-blood marital traditions. Unlike Narcissa and Andromeda, Bellatrix displayed no affection for her husband whatsoever, never even mentioning him in conversations nor bearing him any children. When Voldemort first rose to power, Bellatrix and Rodolphus joined the Death Eaters, and at some point received training in the dark arts from Voldemort himself. Voldemort was her true love, the one to whom she spoke in a romantic manner and showed a deep concern for. However, he never returned her feelings, as he was incapable of understanding love and disliked the idea of being emotionally attached to anyone. When the First Wizarding War broke out, Bellatrix and her husband Rodolphus both fought for the Death Eaters, remained loyal to Voldemort throughout the Wizarding War, and even after he met his first downfall by the infant Harry Potter. Bellatrix and a group of Voldemort's followers, including Rodolphus, her brother-in-law Rabastin and Barty Crouch Jr., managed to avoid capture or execution by Aurors. Seeking to find and revive their master, the group kidnapped Aurors and Order of the Phoenix members Alice and Frank Longbottom, just new parents to Neville. Bellatrix and her partners used the Cruciatus Curse to torture both Alice and Frank for information on Voldemort's whereabouts, until the two captives were driven into insanity when they refused to divulge anything. This crime caused a wave of fury upon the wizard community of such ferocity that the Ministry were critically pressured to find the culprits, and when the four were captured, they were tried before the Council of Magical Law and sentenced to life imprisonment in Azkaban. As a result of the torture, Alice and Frank spent the rest of their lives at St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries, and were totally unaware that they had a son together in the first place. After the fall of the Dark Lord, Bellatrix stood trial for her crimes. Unlike many other Death Eaters, she did not lie about her loyalty. She proudly claimed that she was loyal to Voldemort and that she would wait for his return. Indeed, Bellatrix was so proud of her loyalty to Voldemort that, during her trial before the Council of Magical Law, she was said to have sat upon the chair she was chained to as if it were a throne. "The Dark Lord will rise again, Crouch. Throw us into Azkaban, we will wait. He will rise again and will come for us. He will reward us beyond any of his other supporters. We alone were faithful. We alone tried to find him." She would later describe herself as the Dark Lord's most loyal follower, and even Lord Voldemort, whom Bellatrix admired the most, gained a considerable amount of respect for her. Bellatrix was sentenced to life in Azkaban with no chance of release. She would spend the next 15 years in a maximum security magical cell until her escape. Her time in Azkaban took a toll on her already unstable mentality, as well as hollowing out her appearance until only the faintest traces of her familial beauty remained. When Voldemort returned to power in June 1995, he said that Bellatrix, Rodolphus and Rabastin Lestrange were faithful members of his inner circle and should be rewarded, as they did not denounce him after they were captured and tried. Just 6 months later, in January 1996, a mass breakout from Azkaban set 10 long-imprisoned Death Eaters loose. Bellatrix was one of the 10 who escaped in the mass breakout and rejoined her master, as well as the Dementors, whom Dumbledore correctly predicted would side with Voldemort. The Daily Prophet, probably with encouragement from the Ministry of Magic, reported that the escaped criminal Sirius Black must be responsible for the incident. These 10 were considered to be some of the most dangerous and highly guarded convicts due to their crimes being brutal and legendary. As a result, Bellatrix and her allies became wanted witches and wizards. They lived in hiding to avoid being captured by the Ministry. Later that very same year, Bellatrix and her husband and brother-in-law were members of a Death Eater task force led by Lucius Malfoy. They participated in the Battle of the Department of Mysteries, a plot to steal a prophecy regarding Harry Potter and the Dark Lord. She was enraged when Harry spoke Voldemort's given name and mentioned his true status as a half-blood. This enraged her so much that she actually tried to stun him before Lucius deflected her spell with his shield. Not wanting to inadvertently harm the prophecy they were sent to retrieve. She was extremely condescending when dealing with the 6DA members and tried, unsuccessfully, to retrieve the prophecy from Harry via a summoning charm, but her efforts were stopped by Harry's quick use of a shield charm. She was also willing to do whatever it took to get the prophecy from him, including gleefully and sadistically threatening to torture 14-year-old Ginny Weasley with the Cruciatus curse while forcing Harry to watch. When the Order of the Phoenix members arrived, Bellatrix dueled and defeated her niece Nymphadora Tonks, then began fighting her cousin, Sirius Black. Sirius taunted her during the course of their duel, but Bellatrix struck Sirius with the spell that sent him through the veil guarding the Death Chamber, killing him. After Sirius's death, Bellatrix then defeated Kingsley Shacklebolt before deciding to flee, being the sole Death Eater to escape being captured by Dumbledore when he arrived by effectively blocking the spell that he had attempted to cast upon her. Driven into a rage at the loss of his only loving relative, Harry Potter pursued her all the way to the atrium in an attempt to avenge his godfather. After Bellatrix mocked his relationship with his godfather, Harry then attempted to use the Cruciatus curse on her, but only knocked her over, causing her a few seconds of pain. Dropping her jeering manner, Bellatrix disdainfully lectured him on his failure to execute the curse effectively, inadvertently teaching him how to do it properly in the future, before resolving to torture him herself with it in order to demonstrate the full potency of the curse. After unsuccessfully attempting to attack Harry, Bellatrix then discovered to her horror that the prophecy had been destroyed and proceeded to panic, repeatedly attempting to summon it in vain from Harry, who laughed at her efforts and dismissed her pleadings for leniency from her master due to being unaware that the latter had just arrived at the Ministry. Once Harry realised that Voldemort was indeed present, Bellatrix pleaded with her master not to be punished and tried to warn him that Albus Dumbledore was nearby, but he ignored her and concentrated on attempting to kill Harry. After a failed attempt at possessing Harry, Voldemort grabbed Bellatrix before apparating away, but not before being seen by Fudge and the Aurors. With the rest of the Death Eaters immobilized and caught by the Ministry only moments later, Bellatrix was the only Death Eater not to be apprehended due to Voldemort intervening on her behalf, a testament to his acknowledgement of her loyalty to him. In July of 1996, Bellatrix reluctantly accompanied her sister Narcissa to the house of Severus Snape at Spinner's End. Once there, Bellatrix interrogated Snape and voiced her distrust of him. Snape's calm, reasonable and logical answers to her aggressive questioning rendered her dissatisfied, but temporarily without retort. Narcissa, however, proceeded to beg Snape to look after her son Draco's welfare while he attended Hogwarts and tried to fulfill Voldemort's orders to kill Albus Dumbledore. Snape shocked Bellatrix by asking her to bind him to Narcissa with an unbreakable vow to assist Draco. Bellatrix also assisted her nephew in his task by teaching him occlumency, a tool that Draco later used against Snape in order to conceal the details of his mission. Bellatrix showed her obsessive loyalty to her master's cause in telling her sister that she should be proud instead of being worried that her son was not shrinking away from his duty. By the next year, Bellatrix was living with Narcissa at Malfoy Manor. She was the only resident of the manor who was actually pleased that Voldemort was staying there, telling him that there was no higher pleasure. Despite her unwavering loyalty, her master humiliated her and the Malfoys by mentioning the marriage of Nymphadora Tonks, the daughter of Bellatrix and Narcissa's sister Andromeda, to the werewolf Remus Lupin. Bellatrix insisted that she and Narcissa did not consider Nymphadora to be their niece, as they had disowned her mother for marrying Nymphadora's father, a Muggleborn. Voldemort eventually stopped the teasing and advised Bellatrix to prune her family tree, which she eagerly agreed to do as soon as possible. When the Death Eaters subsequently attacked the Order of the Phoenix while they were moving Harry Potter from 4 Privet Drive, Bellatrix and her husband pursued a disguised Ronald Weasley and Nymphadora Tonks, whom Bellatrix tried very hard to kill. Rodolphus was injured in the pursuit and Tonks escaped. Soon afterwards, a copy of Godric Gryffindor's sword was secured in Bellatrix's family vault at Gringotts Wizarding Bank on Voldemort's orders, with Voldemort and Bellatrix both unaware at the time that it was merely a copy. In March 1998, when Harry, Ron and Hermione were captured by a group of Snatchers and brought to the manor along with Godric Gryffindor's sword, Bellatrix panicked. This led Harry to deduce that there could be something of great importance in her vault: Voldemort's Horcrux, Helga Hufflepuff's cup. Bellatrix, coming out of her panicked state, rapidly stunned all the Snatchers present. She intended to kill them all at a later date, as Draco was unwilling to do so himself. She also had Draco try and identify Harry, as his face was unrecognisable due to a well-placed stinging hex from Hermione. Bellatrix then interrogated Hermione and brutally tortured her with the Cruciatus Curse. Even in extreme pain, Hermione managed to lie, claiming the real sword was only a copy. But Bellatrix thought that maybe Harry and his friends got the sword from her vault. So she informed Peter Pettigrew to get the Goblin Griphook from the cellar to tell her if the sword was a fake or not. Griphook also managed to lie, obeying Harry's request and keeping the trio's secret safe. After Peter Pettigrew was strangled to death in the cellar with his own silver hand by showing mercy and loosening the grip he had on Harry's throat, Harry and Ron escaped the cellar and proceeded up the stairs to aid Hermione. Bellatrix threatened Hermione with a knife. While holding the knife to an unconscious Hermione's throat, Bellatrix demanded that the prisoners drop their wands and then pressed her dark mark, calling Voldemort. However, Dobby apparated and created a diversion and caused the chandelier to fall from above Bellatrix's head, making her release Hermione and jump out of the way. She lashed out at the house elf in complete disbelief of his rebellious actions to his former masters. Dobby claimed he was a free elf and disapparated. As the house elf disapparated with Harry, Bellatrix threw the knife at them in a desperate attempt to prevent their escape, and the apparition sucked up the knife with it, wounding Dobby in the chest, killing him. She and her relatives were severely punished by Voldemort for allowing Harry to escape. Bellatrix also lost her wand in the skirmish. After the incident at Malfoy Manor, Hermione used the hair of Bellatrix that had fallen on her while Bellatrix was torturing her to change herself into the woman, therefore letting her sneak into Gringotts, as Diagon Alley was infested with Death Eaters. During the Battle of Hogwarts in 1998, Bellatrix finally succeeded in killing Nymphadora Tonks, her estranged sister's daughter. When Voldemort called a temporary retreat, waiting for Harry Potter to turn himself in, Bellatrix waited by his side. She offered him help when he was dazed after he used the killing curse on Harry, but was coldly rebuffed. Bellatrix eagerly asked Voldemort if she could check Harry for signs of life, but was refused, and instead he sent her younger sister to confirm the boy's death. When Narcissa had lied and told Voldemort that Harry was indeed dead, Bellatrix and the other Death Eaters and supporters followed Voldemort to Hogwarts to announce Harry's death. Bellatrix in particular gloated at the survivors' despair. When the battle resumed, Bellatrix fought Hermione Granger, Ginny Weasley and Luna Lovegood all at once, having become the last Death Eater standing aside from Voldemort, who was also fighting 3 opponents. It was said that despite all 3 young witches being highly skilled, they still did not equal Bellatrix's magical abilities even when working together, as Bellatrix had more dueling experience and a wider arsenal of spells. She cast a killing curse at Ginny, which narrowly missed its mark by an inch. This enraged Molly Weasley, who promptly threw off her cloak and shouted a vocal challenge to the Death Eater. As she charged forward, the latter cracking with laughter at her. However, Bellatrix's laughter quickly turned into rage as Molly began to attack, making her realise her opponent was more formidable than she had expected. The two women began to duel, with the intensity of their powers being stated as causing the ground beneath them to become hot and cracked due to their intent to finish the other one off once and for all. Despite this, Bellatrix continued to laugh and mock her opponent with sadistic glee, eventually providing an opening for Molly to strike her in the chest with a curse, which proved fatal. As her body toppled to the ground, an outraged Voldemort turned on Molly. This prompted Harry, who had watched the battle unfold beneath his invisibility cloak, to finally reveal himself, and the final showdown between him and Voldemort ensued. Bellatrix did not live to find out that her mistrust of Snape had been valid, and she did not live to see her master's final defeat moments later. And that is all for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I encourage you to please subscribe and share my videos if you like my content, because without your help the channel cannot grow. And with that being said, making videos on a regular basis does cost time, money and a serious amount of effort. However, I absolutely love making videos. It's my dream and it's my passion. So if you'd like to contribute to helping the channel to grow for just $1 a month minimum through Patreon, it truly helps, and it means that I can put fewer ads in my videos as my Patreon grows. You don't have to donate. This is just on the kindness of your heart. The link is in the description below, and please make sure to check out my other videos that will appear on screen and my merchandise link below too. I also have a second channel called Game of Thrones Lore that will have regular content uploaded on it very soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone. It means the world to me, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.